Visa's launching B2B blockchain payments. ING is launching Wall Street B2B blockchain services. And Nasdaq is launching additional blockchain patents. There's a lot going on in Wall Street. There's a lot going on around blockchain. Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together, welcome to Minting Coins. So real quick, I have the old USB cam up and running, so unfortunately there's going to be a little blurring in and out. Probably not going to stick with the camera too often for this show, but there's a lot happening in the space. There's a lot happening on Wall Street. There's a lot happening in the news. We have the SegWit 2x hard fork that was canceled, got uncanceled, forking today, and has forked itself straight into a forking problem. And so with that being said, why don't we just dive right into the market, take a quick peek at what's going on in this world, then we can take a peek at the news, go over all the things that are happening that we think are probably most important for people to recognize, especially coming in on this news that's coming in here on a Friday. So let's take a look at all that and let's discuss. So starting over here at coinmarketcap.com, so we have, real quick, normally I use the Brave browser just so everybody knows. I should have some sort of ad blocker in my Chrome. Just recently switched to a new computer. But, I recommend you download the Brave browser. A lot of news about the Brave browser. I've been a Brave browser user for a very long time. And the only reason I don't have the Brave browser for the show is because the Brave browser doesn't have the highlighter plugin. And if it had the highlighter plugin, then I would use it full time. But with that being said, download the Brave browser. Check that out. It has a lot of really cool features. A lot of privacy features, and also has cryptocurrency BAT token integration with the Brave browser as well. Check that out. Really interesting. So here we are living in a world with over 1,295 different cryptocurrencies. Total market capitalization is swelling up way higher than what I've seen it before. $228 billion, 24-hour trading volume, very, very high. $12 billion. Bitcoin dominance still above 55% at 56.6%. Current per Bitcoin BTC price $7,740 with that current total Bitcoin market capitalization $129 billion. Now keep in mind that once we see a $500 billion market capitalization with Bitcoin, $500 billion, this per Bitcoin price will be around $25,000, $26,000, $28,000 per Bitcoin. And when we get a $1 trillion Bitcoin market capitalization, $1 trillion in just Bitcoin, we're over 10% of the way there, over 12% of the way there now. Then the per Bitcoin price will only be about $50,000 or $60,000 per Bitcoin. We're headed that direction, and it's going to be really interesting to see that happen. We have the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME exchange, seeking to purchase Bitcoin on a futures contract, futures derivatives. Probably going to have a huge effect on the price of Bitcoin, pushing that in an upward trajectory with huge swings and volatility expected, ups and downs, really swinging in one main direction. So we see Bitcoin Cash sort of spiking right now, and it's spiking because the SegWit 2x fork is having an issue. So a lot of the money that's going into Bitcoin, swelling into Bitcoin, pumping right back into Bitcoin Cash. We see that back and forth with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. That's going to be a repeating pattern for forever to come. So just be aware of that. A lot of interesting things happening in the space, a lot of interesting ups and downs with all of the coins and tokens in the space. It's definitely an interesting ride. If you're new to the space, just, I would say stick with Bitcoin, stick with Ethereum, stick with, Litecoin. And, I guess in today's day and age, everyone's going to probably have to hedge with a little bit of Bitcoin Cash as well. So turning over to the news, starting over here at Twitter, we have this one tweet coming from Peter Todd that just says that Jeff Garczyk's 2x hard fork just failed due to a one-off error, with the root cause being the what he's calling the idiotic activation block must be greater than 1 megabyte hard fork logic. It's already failed before in a similar way in the testnet, and the fact is he's saying that there aren't great devs that are working on the 2x, and all the great devs are working on BTC. This is a reason why the Bitcoin core devs have a very thorough process with a Bitcoin review, looking at the Bitcoin code before final code gets committed and uploaded. And over and over and over again, we see errors with the Bitcoin Cash code. We see errors with the SegWit 2x code and these other implementations. We see errors with the Ethereum code over and over again, let it be the DAO situation or let it be the parity wallet code. It's based off that. But there's a lot of code review that needs to happen, because you can't fix this code with simple software patches, right? Because it affects everyone and affects everyone forever. And so you have to, commit code to the blockchain to fix other code that was already on the blockchain. And it could be a huge mess, to update errors in the blockchain. So we have this cool meme right here. I don't always test my code, but when I do it in production. So yeah, don't test your code in production. Test your code in staging. Yeah, just it's not really good to test if the new systems are going to work while the airplane is launching, already in the air or about to take off. And this is another case where it just doesn't look good for the community overall, doesn't look good for SegWit 2x, and at the very least, it definitely shows the benefits of the organizations that have thorough code reviews from competent developers that know what they're doing in the first place and have a team of people to prevent these errors from happening. Because errors are going to happen. People are going to make mistakes, but these mistakes can be mitigated. These mistakes can be hedged against through having the right people in place, through having the right processes that those people are following, and also to have the proper infrastructure to support those people and those processes for that development to be successful. So speaking of development, and speaking of development being successful, real quick, we have news coming out of the first BTC LTC Lightning Network swap. And so we have this Lightning Network between Bitcoin and Litecoin, uses SegWit. It wasn't necessary to have SegWit, but SegWit definitely makes the Lightning Network properties even greater and more beneficial with greater utility and features. And so this swap is particularly important to everyone because it was made off-chain. And so what this means is that the ownership of the coins of the Litecoin to Bitcoin changed hands, but there was no actual transaction recorded on either blockchain. And this is really interesting, and this is really amazing from a non-blockchain developer technical perspective, that person A was able to send person B this token without the blockchain seeing it. I mean, how is that even possible? It's possible with the Lightning Network. And so this system would allow users willing to connect between chains the opportunity to pass cryptocurrencies without having to wait for the on-chain confirmations. And so this Lightning Network is a way for cryptocurrencies to exchange without relying on the miners, without it having to get processed through the miners. And what this means is that there's far lower fees involved because it doesn't have to go through the miners. It's much, much faster transaction times, especially for Bitcoin. And there's also much more privacy because there's no trace of the transaction that's left on either chain. So that the transaction is complete, but it's untraceable in any form. And this is, you know, very, very interesting because everyone is interested in privacy. Everyone is interested in having their anonymity, and a lot of people are really interested in these options that are being provided from these sort of swaps between currencies in a way that still provides low fees, quick confirmations, and high levels of privacy. And so this is the very beginning of interesting technology that's going to come. We're probably going to see decentralized exchanges based on this, and decentralized exchanges are going to be one of the hottest technologies to come out, I think, in 2018. So it's going to be really interesting to see that develop. Not going to go over this article, but here we see that while Jamie Dimon was calling Bitcoin a fraud, that JPMorgan has been busted for money laundering. Yeah, just going to leave this right here. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about this as people are definitely interested in, you know, throwing rocks at people who live in glass houses, I suppose. But moving on to some very, very interesting news. We see here Visa has launched the first phase of blockchain B2B payments. So B2B is business to business payments. After we get really strong systems, you know, with these companies and the processes in place for these B2B payments, then they'll be rolling out later for the B2C payments after all the businesses are used to it, after the businesses adopt it, after the businesses and the banks get their, you know, their ducks in a row, then the B2B payments quickly then later turn into B2C payments. And so Visa is just first focusing on the first phase of the blockchain B2B payments. And they use this platform to ease the cross-border payments and facilitating direct payments between institutions. And by doing so and facilitating these direct payments, they are directly cutting out the middlemen of the Visa credit card industry that the industry currently relies on. And so these middlemen aren't going to be needed, and Visa will be able to process these transactions directly. So this platform has been developed with the assistance of the blockchain startup known as Chain. And Chain is has an ownership stake by the Digital Currency Group, which owns everything, and the Digital Currency Group, which is indirectly or directly owned by Nasdaq. Digital Currency Group also owns Coindesk.com, which we're actually reading this article from. And so Visa on this project is working with several other US-based commerce banks, South Korea's Shinhan Bank, Union Bank of the Philippines, the United Overseas Bank based in Singapore, and their global head of solutions, Kevin Phelan, told CoinDesk that the banks are trailing live bank-to-bank transactions over the platform, that they're trialing these live bank transactions now. And then following this first phase of the project, phase 2, we're going to see the project move into a commercial launch stated for the middle of 2018. There's a lot happening in 2018. Everyone knows that 2018 is the year that we are gearing up to really get solid footing, not really, you know, for 2019, but through 2019, because everyone is focused on 2020. 2020 is when we have this next Bitcoin halving, and yeah, once that supply gets cut and the demand continues to increase, it's going to create huge pressure on the value of Bitcoin. You know, assuming that the demand continues to increase for Bitcoin, of which, you know, it will. So yeah, phase 2, the commercial launch, middle of 2018. What do we have here? Visa's existing partners, as well as future ones, can utilize the company's application programming interface, the API, to create their own platforms. And so Visa is going to want mass adoption of the Visa platform. And for Visa to get mass adoption of the Visa platform, they're going to allow anybody to connect to it with this web API. And the web API is going to make it very easy for other businesses to connect into it, giving more strength and more power, more network effect to Visa's specific technology, of which that they're developing with the startup Chain. Let's see what the quote is here. This week's announcement is just the first step as we work toward a commercial launch of Visa B2B Connect. We are beginning to process bank-to-bank test transactions with select clients. Additional banks, including corporates, will follow soon. So yeah, step one of things to come. They're cutting out the middlemen, decreasing the fees, increasing the transaction times, probably giving additional options, which may include privacy. And Visa is leading the way from their perspective. They seem to be doing a lot more than MasterCard and American Express, even though we see MasterCard and American Express also doing a lot of things in the news. So separate from Visa, but still on Wall Street, we have the financial services company ING, and they're creating a Wall Street-friendly blockchain solution. So ING, the Dutch financial group, has announced the creation of this new anonymous proof of zero knowledge range proof, which I thought I heard Ethereum and Vitalik Buterin talking about this too, but this is the ZKRP for short. Let's see here. And so basically what we have here is the ZRP solution has been proven to be 10 times more efficient than others in the Ethereum test network, while upholding the same three principles of completeness, soundness, and zero knowledge. And so basically we have ING working on this and working on this solution that Wall Street companies can then purchase into. And not only is ING working on this, and not only is, like we were saying, Visa before, but MasterCard working on different solutions, American Express working on different solutions, Bank of America working on different solutions, as well as the Nasdaq exchange beginning to search for additional blockchain solutions, because this future of blockchain technology is having it's the beginning steps, the beginning foundation, the beginning integrations of integrating the distributed ledger technology, the blockchain technology, the tokenized utility across every single aspect of our lives. We're going to see it across car records, across property records. We're going to see it across, not just financial records, educational records. There's going to be supply chain tracking. So, tracking seeds on the farm to packages being produced. Products being produced and to products being sold. Blockchain technology is going to be integrated with every single aspect of everyone's lives. Let it be that you're aware of it, or the marketing and technology does a great job with the user interface and communications. And so you're not even going to be aware that there's blockchain technology behind a lot of these different systems. Nevertheless, the technology is going to be there, and companies like Visa, companies like ING, companies like Bank of America and Nasdaq are going to be the owners of the developed technology. They're going to be the owners of the patents, of the products and the services, of the procedures and solutions, and then it's going to create a launch pad for even more innovation to happen on top of that. But unfortunately, it's going to be through the owners. As patents create some limitation, and things that aren't open source, create some limitation, and that's why we're big believers of open source technology, allowing everyone to participate and allowing everyone to build upon what we're learning and cultivating and collecting and expanding on from our collective human knowledge to hopefully make this world a better place. And so we just mentioned Nasdaq a second ago. Nasdaq, as we know, Nasdaq owns the digital currency group, which means Nasdaq owns Grayscale, the Bitcoin Investment Trust, the Ethereum Classic ETF, CoinDesk, so much, right? We know Nasdaq has filed several patents in the past, and this is yet another blockchain-based asset ownership patent. And so this patent for this blockchain-based asset ownership system, Nasdaq is intending to use to record and control the transfer of asset ownership in a secure way. And so you can read this right here. Maybe I'll read it in a second. But when I read this, it just sounds like a wallet. It sounds like they just took a description of a wallet and they just copy and pasted it, and then they filed a patent. And I don't know, does this mean that they own this? I don't know. It's a little bit confusing to me. I always thought patent law was a little bit confusing. But yeah, let's take a quick read. So it says here, the server computer system is configured to record on the blockchain by transmitting one or more electronic messages to a distributed blockchain computer system, ownership information of respective groups of one or more units of an asset for each of a plurality of owners of the asset. Sounds like a multi-sig wallet. And to configure for each one or more of the plurality of owners a digital wallet corresponding to one of the said groups of one or more units of the asset, the digital wallet being associated with a private cryptographic key and at least one blockchain address generated based on the private cryptographic key. So they just described a multi-sig wallet, then filed a patent for that. And does that mean that they're going to own this? I don't know what this means. It's really a little strange. You could, maybe if you understand this, you could help in the comments below. The patent law, what does this give them the power to do? What does this block other people from doing? Which I guess is the question that I'm most interested in. So blockchain patents seem to be coming faster and faster down the pipeline these days. We keep on hearing about them all the time. A lot of times we find out that these patents have been worked on for years and years and years, been filed 6 months ago, and then we're just hearing about it now because sometimes it can be hard for some of this information to come up from the depths there. And these patents are getting filed, it really seems, mainly by banks and traditional finance corporations. And this is an indication that traditional finance understands what's happening. They understand the writing on the wall. They have the money to perform research, of which they have since at least 2011. And from this research, create these patents, create these, different restrictions, and to file this to give them the benefit to control this technology moving forward to the extent that they can control the technology. Because the way that technology is structured, you have access to gain direct access, direct ownership, and that opportunity is there for you now. With the way things are going, I can't guarantee that that opportunity is going to be there for your grandkids, but for you right now, this is the time, this is the place, this is the opportunity for you to be involved. You're watching this video. I think you recognize that. So this filing comes with a previous spat of filings from the Nasdaq, all related to financial transactions and control. Nasdaq is just so deep in the space. Nasdaq pretty much owns this entire industry. Yeah, welcome to Nasdaq for just positioning themselves to not be disrupted. They are not going away anytime soon. It's going to be, the Nasdaq blockchain exchange. They're going to have this totally on lockdown. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Nasdaq competes with like the New York Stock Exchange and some of the other competing stock exchanges. This can really give Nasdaq global dominance as the world shifts from traditional money and traditional finance and traditional technology and moves into distributed ledger and blockchain technology. This can give Nasdaq the ability to really leapfrog over all of their current industry competitors. So, ancient Chinese wisdom time. The best time to buy Bitcoin was in 2009. The next best time is now. And so, yeah, couldn't have done it better myself. So, we all wish we could have bought it in 2009 or 2010 or 2011 or 2012. Maybe not in 2013, maybe not in 2014, but maybe in 2013 or 2013, maybe 2015, that is. And definitely 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. The people are recognizing that the markets go up. They're recognizing the markets go down. They're recognizing that it's a reoccurring investment to get their money into the space to try to accumulate as much of this stuff as possible because of the extreme limitations on the future supply. And so, yeah, the second best time to buy Bitcoin is now. And I would say like the third best time to buy Bitcoin would be, when those dips happen. So, we know the markets go up, we know the markets go down, we can dollar cost average. When we see these huge drops and everyone says Bitcoin is dying and Bitcoin is failing, those are the times that we can purchase Bitcoin. Those are the times that, it's really interesting to get involved in the game. And those are the times when, it really feels best, because even when we miss the dips, and even when it goes up and it goes down, that dips hits, every single time it just skyrockets way above where it was before. It's this reoccurring pattern. It's going in one direction. We're interested, we're excited, more and more people are paying attention, more and more people are getting involved. And I'm just really, really excited. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to be sharing this information. I'm really excited to be paying attention. I got to learn more. I have to do more. And, I can't sleep. I can't eat. Just really focusing as much of my time and attention into this space, because it's just the beginning, and this is going to blow up. And we're only at 200 billion. I mean, we're going to look back on this once we blow past $1 trillion and just recognize that there's all this opportunity around us. There's all this opportunity around you. And there's all this opportunity for all of us to come together and to share this information and to get as many people involved as possible, because the more people in your community who are involved in Bitcoin, the more people in your community who have a little bit of Bitcoin, the stronger your community is going to be in terms of advancing itself, of its awareness, your understanding, your ability to succeed in this new industrial order that's coming at a very, very rapid pace. Now, we're seeing Visa, we're seeing ING, we're seeing Nasdaq, we're seeing all of these different companies, Fidelity, Bank of America, MasterCard, American Express, all of these folks, Square Cash, getting involved in the blockchain space. And after they have all of their positions, after they have all of their technology, after they have all of their people, their process, their systems ready for the consumers, once they have it tested for businesses, tested between the different banks, rolled out to the different businesses, that's when normal people, mainstream people, are going to find out about Bitcoin, and then you're going to find out about Bitcoin directly into the systems. So even if it ends up where you're buying Bitcoin direct from the blockchain, you're probably going to be going through one of their systems where they're going to be cutting a fee. And so it's really important right now that you have ownership of your cryptographic tokens, you have ownership of your keys, that you're running your own Bitcoin core wallet. It's very, very easy. You just have to make sure you have enough space in your computer. That's really the greatest limitation, is having enough space, and just having like any halfway decent computer and just having enough space in that computer. You could run a Bitcoin full node, which is just a Bitcoin core wallet. These are very exciting times, and I hope that you learn what you need to do to keep yourself safe, to have a Trezor or a ledger, to not share your private keys with anybody, to just recognize what's happening in the space, and to continue bringing people together. All right. So with that being said, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking around with me on this show. Thanks for learning with me. Like this video if I brought you any information. Leave your thoughts and your comments in the comments below. Check us out on STEEMIT. Feel free to upvote this. Check out the show notes about how you can contact us, how you can get involved to help minting coins, to continue to bring this information. And just we can continue learning about this together and making smart decisions so that together we are minting coins.